What is something you never seem to have the time for? Think about it. If we're being completely honest with ourselves, I would bet anything it's something that's really important to you. Your dream, your goal, your passion, your purpose. But there never seems to be enough time. And what happens? Our most authentic self just gets brushed aside. Yet again. What would you do if you had 182 hours that you could dedicate to yourself and your purpose? The answer is clear. You could move mountains. So let's talk about that, giving ourselves the time and the tools to set ourselves up for success, your true success, not what everyone else calls success, what you call success. Welcome to Moving Mountains in 3-inch Heels. I'm your host, Julia Jordan. Moving mountains in 3-inch heels pretty much says it all when it comes to women. We can make anything happen. Not only can women do anything, we do everything. We're going to focus on 5 pillars: metabolism, meditation, mental health, menopause, and I would be remiss if I didn't add the 5th, medical. It occurred to me when I was putting these metrics together that all 5 of the words do something that most women do not, and that is start with M-E, start with me. So I'm going to amend my previous statement. Women can do anything, and we do everything, except prioritize ourselves. But it's time to. It's time for us to start with me. If you're ready to laugh, learn, and leap into a healthier, happier you, hit that subscribe button and join our wellness family. Let's go on this journey together of self-consideration as we discover how to start with me. Welcome to Moving Mountains in 3-inch Heels. Technically it's episode 9, but it's episode 1 of Moving Mountains in 3-inch Heels, but we're going to call it episode 9. Welcome to Moving Mountains in 3-inch Heels. I'm your host, Julia Jordan. Yes, there's been a name change from moving mattresses in 3-inch heels to moving mountains in 3-inch heels. I love the former name, but it needed explaining. It was a great story, a true story, but it needed explaining. Where moving mountains in 3-inch heels doesn't. It pretty much says it all when it comes to women. We can make anything happen. Now, the goals of this podcast have not changed. It is to uplift and encourage women to lift the best versions of ourselves, mind, body, and soul. We're going to be focusing in the same 5 areas: metabolism, meditation, menopause, mental health, and medical care. I've had some wonderful guests on already, and I'm going to bring you some more wonderful guests with great conversations, informative conversations. I strongly believe that information is power, and that's what I want to do here. Educate and empower women. The fact is, the more information we have, the more options we have, and the better decisions we can make for ourselves. I started thinking about taking my own advice from good advice from a friend of mine. She said, you really should take your own advice. You're telling other people and encouraging other people to start with themselves and make themselves a priority. You ought to do the same thing for yourself. So I've been working on that. I think most women are like that. We give really great advice to everybody else, and we aren't prioritizing ourselves. Fact is, no matter how driven, how ambitious we are as women, we still have a heart and we still care. And actually, heart and caring is our superpower, but not when we're doing so much for other people and getting everything else done to the extent that we ignore ourselves and we never get to ourselves. We'll get to ourselves tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. So it's about focusing on ourselves in the sense that we're a priority. It doesn't mean we don't do anything for anybody else. It just means let's change the order. Let's start with ourselves. Let's start with Me. As we go back to the metrics and they all start with ME, we're going to start with ME too. Let's take a step back, because if I'm talking about myself, before I can be my truest, most authentic self, I need to be honest with myself. And we all need to do that. Living the truest version of ourselves means being honest with ourselves first. So, start with me is two parts. First, start with me, meaning hold a mirror up. What areas can I do better in? What can I do to make my life better? And what changes do I need to make? But also celebrating me. What is wonderful about me? What would I never change about myself in a million years? It's such a great quality. Mine, for example, is I assume the best of others. And when I was younger, I used to get the short end of the stick. And I would think, I'm going to stop assuming the best of others because I always end up on the short end, and I'm just going to not assume the best of others. And probably within a week of me thinking that and making that decision, I read an article about a study that was done on some of the most successful people. And they answered a survey. Where did you start from? How did you get where you've gotten to? All these things to kind of understand and get in their minds to find out what made them successful. Well, as it turns out, the only thing they had in common, one thing across the board that every single one of them had in common, one thing only. It was that they assumed the best of others. And I was like, well, if it works for them, it's going to work for me. It's my natural inclination to be that way, and I'm going to be that way. Then I thought about, it's pretty tiring to be jaded anyway. It erodes the soul. So I'd be hurting myself more. So that's just one of the things that I like about me. And think about some of the things that you like about yourself. Yes, we can always do better. But I think we as human beings, we're so hard on ourselves sometimes, and we have to give ourselves grace. So, okay, yeah, I want to be better today than I was yesterday and better tomorrow than I was today. All that. Got it. But what is wonderful about me? Think about that for yourself. What do you like about yourself? There's a book called Strength Finders, and a lot of corporations used it probably, 7 to 10 years ago, where they're trying to make a shift from always saying, you don't do this right, you've got to do better here. Figure out what's best about these individuals and magnify that. Bring the strengths out rather than always pointing out the shortcomings. And we need to do that for ourselves. How do we magnify, bring to the surface the best parts of ourselves? Now, I think a lot of that has to do with focusing on our passion, that thing that we never seem to have time for because, reality, life, we never seem to have the time. So I think when we're living the truest versions of ourselves, we're honest with ourselves, talking about what can I fix, what can I control that I'm not doing, that I can do better, also celebrating ourselves. And then making ourselves a priority. And I say start with me because we should start with ourselves. We tend to look away from ourselves and take care of everyone and everything else first. So what if we did this? What if we gave ourselves the first half an hour of the day, the first 30 of the day? And if that means getting up a half an hour early to make that happen, you're worth it. Aren't we worth it? Yeah, we're worth it. So if you get up at 6 o'clock, get up at 5:30. You can do the math there. A half an hour before you have to get in the shower to get ready for work. A half an hour before the kids come down and chaos ensues. A half an hour before you have to help your partner find their keys. You get it. Give yourself the first 30 of the day. Now, you might think that's not a lot of time to do anything. But in that first 30, focus on your passion. What do you want to do in the first 30 minutes of your day? What's going to make your day better? Is it starting your day praying, meditating? How about you've wanted to write a book for 10 years and you've never found the time? How about you start and you give yourself that 30 minutes every day? Did you have a cooking channel on YouTube and you haven't posted in 2 years? What's a new recipe that you have? Whatever it is, you want to go back to school, you want to get your master's degree, you want to get your bachelor's degree, whatever the case may be. You want to put a business plan together to start your own business. You can do that the first 30 of every day. 30 minutes may not sound like a lot, but think about it cumulatively. If you did that every day, you're giving yourself 3.5 hours a week. You're giving yourself 14 hours a month. But listen to this one. There's 52 weeks in a year. If you multiply 3.5 times 52, that's 182 hours that you just gave yourself. What could you do? What could you accomplish in 182 hours? That's a lot of time. And you're a powerful person. We are powerful women. 182 hours a year we're giving ourselves to pursue our passion. That's a lot of time. Now, take it a step further. What if 2 days a week you gave yourself another hour and a half in the evening? Is everybody fed and homeworked and organized by 6 o'clock in the evening? Can you get everybody on autopilot by 6 o'clock in the evening? What if 2 days a week from 6 o'clock to 7:30 in the evening, you gave yourself another hour and a half? That's 3 more hours a week. Now you're up to 6.5 hours a week. That's 338 hours a year. That's 14 days. You just gave yourself 2 weeks to focus on you and your passion. What can you get done? What can we get done in that kind of time? It's little bites, but cumulatively, that's a lot of time. Now, one of the things for me was I had gained 20 pounds over the last year and a half. And 10 of those I gained rapidly, like within 2 months. And I kept thinking, well, it's menopause. And it is. And we're not going to make light of menopause, but it's not just hot flashes and brain fog. Some of us don't deal with that, but my muscles hurt, my joints hurt. That's menopause too. There are so many symptoms. And it's being talked about more. Thankfully, we have such incredible people out there talking about it more. And if I can shed a little light on it too and do my little part, I want to do that too. But okay, I can say my weight gain was because of menopause, and I'm sure part of it was. But how much of it was me? If I'm really being honest with myself, what can I control? Well, let's think about this for a minute. I was eating at night after 7 o'clock. I was eating sugar like my life depended on it. I was inconsistently eating healthy. I would start eating healthy, then I would stop eating healthy. It was just a vicious cycle. I like cheese. I was eating cheese. And, I wasn't exercising at all. And that goes back to because I've been in pain, my joints and my muscles, and I thought I was going to break. Turns out I'm not going to, but I felt that way. And I wasn't even walking, even a little, just a little movement. So those are all things that I can control. So I took control of those things. I have lost 10 pounds just by simply taking control of what I can control. Now, in episode 8, my guest was celebrity nutritionist Kim Shapira. And one thing that she told us was you should stop eating between 4 and 6 hours before you go to bed. I'm thinking it's 2. I had no idea you needed 4 to 6 hours between your last eating, your last meal, and going to bed. Well, I go to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock. I wish I was awesome and cool and could stay up till midnight, but yeah, I'm not. 9 to 10 o'clock, I'm in bed, I'm asleep. So for me, that means I need to stop eating around 5 o'clock in the evening. So I have. And another thing she talked about was rather than saying I can't eat after 5 o'clock, I can't eat after dinner, changing it to I don't eat after dinner. Try that with whatever is hard on you to take power over, take control of. So there's really something powerful about changing it from I can't to I don't. Because now I don't. That's a decision. That's empowerment. I can't feels like you're being deprived. And changing one little word to another little word makes a huge difference. Now, one of the reasons I stopped exercising was because of the joint and muscle pain. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I'm like, all of a sudden I woke up one day, I have arthritis. No, it's a depletion of hormones, particularly estrogen, can affect women, and we have joint pain and muscle pain from that. It's from menopause or even perimenopause. It can start happening, but it's a reduction or complete depletion of estrogen. So that's why I stopped exercising. I had actually been very athletic my entire life. And, all of a sudden I wasn't. It was because I hurt. Now I started on hormone replacement therapy, and we'll have more episodes on that with in-depth discussions with experts. In episode 4, Bree Weiselman, who is an expert in that area, focusing on perimenopause and also menopause. Full disclosure, I started working with her. After I talked with her, I thought she was amazing, and I started on her program. One thing I want to make sure that everyone understands, hormone replacement therapy is not created equal. There are varying degrees of quality, varying degrees of, even when it says bioidentical, bioidentical is not a regulated term. But if you find high quality, then the bioidentical actually matters. So you may have been on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and it was awful. I did a lot of research. I went through several doctors, several medical practitioners, even the online stuff. Nothing was working. I either felt worse or it was just, no, it wasn't good for me. I found and started working with Bree, and the level of quality that it recommends and the brand that she uses has made all the difference in the world. And I just highly recommend finding a medical practitioner that you are comfortable with, that can prescribe you and recommend to you top quality hormone replacement. Because again, it is not created equal. You may be having a bad reaction to one, but if you get on the right kind and the right amount, it will help you. I would recommend talking to your doctor, medical practitioner for more information on that. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm telling you my experience. The other thing that's important for anti-inflammation is turmeric. I take turmeric supplement. I have a turmeric that I juice with other ingredients, and I can put that up on my website, that recipe. And I've started eating healthy. There's a lot of meal planning software out there. There's also food tracking apps. I use MyFitnessPal. They don't pay me to tell you that. There's a ton out there. That's just the one that I use. I was comfortable with it. A nutritionist recommended it to me, and I like it. Not only does it count calories, it tells you the micronutrients. It tells you and the nutrients, how much protein you're getting, how much fiber you're getting, any important nutrient, it will tell you, and it gives you a daily allowance, a guideline to go by. You should be here, depending on what it is. Protein's really important, but like anything else, don't overdo it. Make sure you're getting the right amount. But there's a lot of ways to get protein, not just with meat. I'm not a huge red meat fan. I eat fish and chicken. I eat a lot of salmon. I didn't used to like salmon, but I found some good recipes that I actually enjoyed. Now, on episode 2 with Betsy Markle, she and I talked about meal planning, and she had said, make things in bulk, make things so you have it all for the week so you can just grab it. Don't spend your whole day on Sunday cooking, just some easy, good things. One thing I do is I cook chicken breast for the week. I bake it, and then after it's cooled, I cut it up into square size pieces and I freeze it so I can just pull the amount that I want out and put it in the microwave. She had recommended quinoa. And if you saw that episode, or if you watched that episode, you'll hear me asking her, so how do you make quinoa not taste like quinoa? I don't like it. Well, she encouraged me to put some healthy ingredients in it, and that's what I did. And I created a Mediterranean quinoa that is delicious. I have an ebook with that recipe, and other superfoods that don't taste so good that I've made taste good and kept healthy. I mean, fact is, you can put melted cheese on anything and it can taste good. Not the point. So I have 4 recipes in an ebook that are superfoods, the ones that don't taste so good, how to make them taste good and stay healthy. And I've provided you with health benefits of each of the ingredients, not just the main one. But let's take quinoa, for example. I have a recipe that I created. Using quinoa is the base. I don't use frozen quinoa. There's a ton of sodium in it, so I cook it on the stove top like rice. It's very easy. Make it the night before, refrigerate it. It's easier to work with when it's cold. It's a really simple recipe. I take artichoke hearts, roasted red peppers, Kalamata olives, English cucumbers, skin off, thank you, sun-dried tomatoes, chickpeas, arugula, spinach, and I toss it, and then some feta, and I toss it again. You can have it right then and there if you make enough of it. 2 cups of water, 1 cup of quinoa. I have the full recipe in the ebook on my website. The website will be in show notes. It's really good. With chicken, you can make it a meal, and you got to get creative. And so I have some recipes. There's some Instagrams that have not steered me wrong as far as healthy recipes, and I can put their handles on in the show notes too. But it's important to decide what you want for breakfast. Do you want some protein oatmeal and fruit, egg whites? Do you need a treat maybe on Sundays, Saturdays? You need some pancakes? Don't deprive yourself. Just take care of yourself. But it doesn't mean you have to always say no. It's just everything in moderation, but eat healthy the majority of the time. Figure out what you want for lunch and dinner for the week. Make enough salmon for the week. Make enough chicken for the week. Get the salad bags and just, put some salad in with some meat. You're good. Make it easy on yourself, because what I find is the easier I make it for me, the more likely I'm going to eat healthy, because we have to time our meals. We shouldn't be starving. Like Kim Shapira said, don't be starving when you eat. You should be hungry, but not starving. But sometimes time gets away from us. Life gets away from us. And we have to eat when we're starving. And you just grab what's ever in the refrigerator. So if everything you've made is healthy and already made, and all you got to do is microwave something, you're going to eat healthy. You're setting yourself up for success. And that's all I'm saying by doing the food prep and having the food tracker. You know what you're doing. You know what you're eating. You know how much you've eaten of everything. It's setting yourself up for success. And that's really what I'm talking about, whether it's a weight management program, whether it's writing a book, whether it's getting a promotion at work. Regardless of what it is, set yourself up for success. Create a business plan for yourself, a life plan for yourself. You wouldn't start a business without a business plan, at least someone that wants to be successful. Do the same thing with life. Have a life plan, have a meal plan. Separate everything out. I want to do this, create a plan. I want to do this, create a plan. I want to do that, create a plan. So, and another thing that I'm learning about, and Danielle Hamilton in episode 5 talked about it, circadian rhythm. Getting up, making sure you are outside for sunlight, touching leaves, grounding, eating at certain times. And one thing she recommends, and pretty much across the board, eat before coffee. Having coffee on an empty stomach increases cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that can cause all kinds of problems. So that's just a quick little tidbit. You can make a change there. I've lost 10 pounds. I've lost it slowly, and it's good to lose it slowly because then it stays off. Your body adjusts. I've still got 10 more to go, but I'm really happy with my progress. And you might say to me, well, what are you doing with your first 30? Well, right now it's this. You're looking at it, focusing on my podcast. I am branching out, and there will be much more coming that is associated with this podcast, not just the podcast. And before that, I was writing a novel that I started in 2016. And not because I'm writing War and Peace, because when I could find the time. And I've edited it and edited it and edited it and over and over and over and just put some real work into it. It's with my editor now. And when it comes back, I'll have more changes to go, but I do expect that to be out in 2025 or 2026. Just depending. So I guess really to sum this up, let's make ourselves a priority. Start with me. Look yourself in the mirror and make yourself this promise. Today, I start with me. Today, I give myself the first 30. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to become a habit. And once it becomes a habit, your first 30 belong to you. That's going to be a non-negotiable. You will be so comfortable doing that you'll find it a necessity, non-negotiable. Create non-negotiables in your life. What are the things that are so important to you, you're immovable on? You have to do them every day. They're important to you. I'm not saying no to other people, but I'm saying not now. Create your non-negotiables. It's all part of that life plan. Get comfortable taking care of you. We're working on this together. It's tough. It can be uncomfortable. We've been conditioned to put everyone else first. It's not a crime. I promise it's okay to start with me. Put that mirror up. What can I do better? What can I celebrate about me? And then next, start with me is what can I do? What's my passion? What if I had 182 hours a year, 338 hours a year that I didn't know I had? But if I start with my first 30, I can move mountains. I can move my most important mountain because I gave myself the first 30. I look forward to bringing you so many more guests, so many more podcasts. Please drop me a comment, subscribe, any questions, anything that you'd like for me to have as a subject. I'd love to bring a guest on and we can talk about it. As always, remember, self-care is a necessity and it does not require an apology. Thank you for joining me today on Moving Mountains in 3-inch heels.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest tips for living your best life. Until next time, stay fabulous and remember, your wellness journey matters. Self-care is a necessity and it does not require an apology. I'll see you soon.